fine, just carrying on, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, all good really. Just it's going to take time to grow this thing, if you like, but it's
of course.
you know, just doing it how I can do it. And how about you?
Yeah, good. I'm still working full time as well.
What is your job?
So I'm a house manager at advertising and like design agency. So obviously most of my job would require me being in the office, like doing lots of stuff. So it does feel really weird trying to obviously adjust to it, but I do still have a job, so I'm obviously very grateful for that. But yeah, it's just all a bit weird still, isn't it? But like you said, just getting through.
And I mean, I just feel for you guys, like in the UK, it's, you know, it must feel.
Yeah, but is it not like the same in Australia? I suppose it's gotten quite crazy over here recently. I don't know what it's like over there at the moment.
I think that you can't underestimate that though. Do you know what I mean? Like how different it is, because we're in lockdown, but we have thousands and thousands of people dying, and kind of everyone, like I imagine it's getting to the point where everyone kind of knows someone that's affected.
Yeah, that's kind of true actually.
Yeah, I mean, and I am like my mum's had it, my stepdad's had it, and my stepsister's had it. So it's like
you know what? I think I had it.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a drama queen. I don't tell people I think I've had it because I feel like they're going to be like, oh yeah, sure, okay. But I'm pretty sure I had like the symptoms of it, and I was really ill for about 2 weeks, and I couldn't smell, I couldn't taste. I was like coughing. I just felt absolutely shit. Didn't want to get out of bed, which isn't that much different anyway. But I was still just like, it was just horrendous. And then afterwards, like someone else told me, yeah, I think I had it, and I was like, oh, is it possible to have a mild case? And they were like, yeah, and I was like, okay, I think I might have had it.
When do you think you had it then?
I don't know if it was just right after I spoke to you or if it was right before I spoke to you, but it was like around that time. It was like probably a month ago or something now.
Yeah.
So it's weird that it was actually that long ago that we first spoke.
Yeah.
So like you kind of said with what
my response, it was my responsibility with my I hadn't done a Zoom interview yet either in this house, and doing it from that far away from my router just doesn't work.
No, completely fair enough. I mean, also because that was my first one, I feel like I was just a little bit like I didn't really know what was going on. So
honestly, I think it was fine, but
okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry to make you do it again, but I just obviously want to be able to like speak properly to you and for people to like actually hear what you're saying, because you said some really cool, interesting stuff. So yes, thank you for doing it again. Is it late for you over there?
Sorry?
Is it late for you over there?
Perfect, 20:08.
So. Oh, okay, that's fine. So yes, thank you for joining me again.
So the like now it's 3 hours different. So like as in I always count forward even though I just can never anyway. So 9, 10, 11, okay, it's 11 a.m. When it's 8 p.m. here, it's 11 a.m. there. But in the summer for us, then it's only like an hour out. So it would be 9 a.m. for you.
Oh, okay.
It's complicated.
Is it, there's actually like daylight savings and all that stuff?
Yeah, and then when you go, because you go back and I go forward or whatever, it ends up 3 hours different instead of 1 hour out, like.
Yeah. My maths is really, as I've gotten older and I've left school, my maths has just become really shit. Anytime someone mentions numbers, I get really stressed.
Yeah, I know, I just glaze over.
Like. But I think I understand. I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you count it like we're 15 hours ahead or something. But I can't count that. That takes time to count 15 hours.
Oh my God, I completely get what you're saying. You're adding just from 8.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was being so stupid. I get that now. But then you just add a PM or an AM onto it.
Yeah, I just add that because you might as well. Whereas
that is so, okay, that took me a long time to understand, although it was a simpler way of doing it. Got it. Thank you, amazing. So, being in isolation, how are you surviving? Because, you know what I said to myself? I was like, okay, I do work, but I was like, I have so much more time. I'm going to do so much stuff on the blog. I have so many ideas. And like with these Zoom things, I was like, I'm going to do one every other day. There's so many people I want to speak to. And then I just like, it's even harder to be more motivated than even usual. Maybe because my routine's so disjointed. Maybe because I don't know what it is. Everything just feels really weird. I really thought that I was going to be so productive and be doing so much stuff. But I think a lot of people in isolation have felt that struggle. I don't know how you've dealt with that.
Yeah, I mean, you've gone straight into what I think is the most important issue at the moment. Like, seeing so many memes and like people posting about this kind of thing. I've posted a few as well about,
yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah,
don't be too hard on yourself. Like, you know, you don't have to be productive right now. You know, we haven't lived through a global fucking pandemic before now, and you know, things like that. You know, but at the same time, I was literally thinking about this just today, and I think there's a slight danger in that kind of narrative, like, and it's a really tricky one because I haven't even almost sort of fully processed this myself yet. Yeah. But I think if it's a story for you, like if you do this regularly in your life, then it's worth checking in. Because you know, for me, I do that a lot. Like I go to like, oh, I can't possibly do this, that, and the other. I have big dreams, big ideas. Then I go, oh no, I can't. You know, like if it's a story for you that you do that anyway, then pandemic aside, like maybe this is something to deal with. So don't just sort of read the memes and hear everybody else saying, oh, it's okay to kind of do nothing.
Yeah.
Be kind of relaxed on yourself if that's been a continuous story for you forever anyway, because in that way you're just going back to the old normal.
No, that's so true.
What I see is the point is we can get out of the old normal now. Like this is great. Bring on the pandemic, because who wants the old normal back? Like this is a chance to really look at ourselves and check in and go, well, what do I want to take forward now? Like let's reset. What's actually important to me? You know, what did I, you know, like you were just saying, like you're like, oh, I can do this and I can do that, and then you know I've got this time, and you know those things are probably things that so many people are thinking, like we've slowed down, we find out what's more important.
Yeah.
But then if the same stuff gets in the way again, then it's nothing to do with the pandemic. It's just
that, you know, that's literally my eyes are like, oh shit, okay. No, that makes sense, because I do still have those problems when there's not this pandemic, but then when there is this as well, I'm kind of like pushing things away a bit easier, being like, oh, it's because I'm obviously feeling a bit stressed, or it's because of this, whereas it's actually like I need to actually, I think a lot of the time the reason I don't do stuff is because I'm worried that the outcome's not going to be good enough. And yeah, so oh my god, it's getting deep. But yeah, I mean, I have a friend who contributes a lot with the blog as well, and we obviously do stuff together. But yeah, even between us, it's like, I don't know why, it just feels like a bit of a struggle. There's some days I wake up and I'm like, message loads of people, and I'm like thinking of loads of things to do and come up with ideas, and then the next day I'm like, oh god, that's too much to do. So I think also what it is when I was at work, every day I had a diary. My mum bought me this amazing pink fluffy diary, 2020. And I wrote in it every day, and I wrote on certain days things that I would do for the Galdem blog, and I had it planned out. And I think that is such a silly, simple thing. I don't think of myself as organised, but not having that diary, because I have no reason to write in it anymore, I thought, because it's not normal days, I've not been writing in it. Whereas now I'm like, I still should be doing things in it to actually like bring myself back to a routine and bring myself back to normality, because I think that's where everything's getting a bit blurred. It's a bit of a free-for-all with all the days. I think like it's like when you have summer holidays at school and you're just like, what day is it? I don't know, I don't care. It's weird.
Back to school holidays, it feels a bit like Christmas and stuff.
Yeah, literally, it's so weird. It's just like, what is going on?
But yeah, scheduling, like I have avoided scheduling diaries my whole life.
Mm.
Like, I've literally been the world's worst at having a diary and keeping to it.
Yeah.
It's only been about the last year that I'm actually managing to keep to a schedule, and I'm kind of not remembering, because I literally never did. Like, I only ever get a schedule or what do you call it, like a timeline ready. If I'm doing a big launch, or if I'm doing something that requires that. And then the rest of my life, I'm just winging it. And it's like, winging it doesn't, it can work as long as you are motivated.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're not motivated, but you do have to kind of, you can't just expect motivation to be there in the morning. Sometimes, like, for some people it will be, but for a lot of people, we do have to, like, create it and go, okay, what is my why? What am I actually up to? Why, what's important today? What's my priority today, or whatever. So yeah, I mean, having a schedule, like, I avoided it because I just thought of them as boring.
Yeah, that's 100%. I think people like, oh, I don't want to be that person. Like, I'm completely fine, go with the flow. But it's like, you have to be realistic at the same time, don't you?
No, it is, and it fully is. Like, it's such a good thing to do. And I think I do things like with my scheduling, like a day plan for me. I mean, you just have to find what works for you. But for a day plan, you could try this. For me is like a circle. I'll draw you one. So it's like, like a clock, and you go, right, this is 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. or whatever time you get up, and then I can plot in, like, in my day, and go, oh, that part of my day, I know that I've got to pick up my little boy from daycare, or I know that, lunch is going to be at 12 or whatever. Plot in what's actually important, and then I can see the time that I actually do have around it. And
I love that.
Yeah, it really works. It's really,
and also it's more interesting to look at than just written lines. It's a bit more fun to actually look at.
Like, oh, that looks like a lot to do.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's what's overwhelming sometimes. Then you're just like, I think I might not do that right now. But yeah, that fun little circle I like. I might give that a go and share it with you after.
Yeah, do it. It makes it realistic, because you're like, I've actually only got, and you can plot it. I find plotting like half an hour slots as well important, because give yourself like a time slot to do a job, and then change it up, like half an hour slots.
That's also what people do, is that they give themselves something or too many things in one go, and they don't give themselves a rest as well. I think that's what people need to remember.
Yeah, I plot in everything. That's the other thing. Plot in rest.
Have a cup of tea.
Yeah. Plot in, like, I'm going to meditate today. I'm going to do like the whole self-care. And I think I was saying it to you before, but for me, self-care at the moment is like a lot of my day. Because I think that's what got me through, like, as soon as we first started going into kind of self-isolation and stuff, what got me through was just, right, okay, I'm spending an hour listening to a great podcast that's all about mindfulness, or like meditation or Buddhism or whatever. Then I'm like doing half an hour yoga, I'm making sure I get exercise. Just, it seems like
brilliant. No, it's absolutely necessary. It's so necessary. I think a lot of people won't be doing that because I don't think maybe how important it is, but also they kind of don't think that they deserve it. They're like, well, I should be spending every second of my day working, I should be doing this, and I've got this. It's like, people really need to take a step back. But that's why I think Dear Teenage Me, one of the many reasons it's so brilliant, is because you really do talk about caring for yourself, and especially when it's aimed at teenagers, obviously, and young adults. It's as you grow older that women especially suddenly start realizing, oh yeah, I actually should look after myself, and I actually am quite important. So when I was younger, it didn't really cross my mind to be doing those small things. But do you think that's becoming more of a known thing with young people now?
I hope so. I mean, I was thinking about like my target audience. You've got to, like, whenever you start something, you should think about like
Yeah.
the perfect target market. And I was just thinking about how, you know, I mean, for me, it's like any teenage girl. I want to empower teenage girls globally. That would be amazing. But if I'm realistic, then the ones that want to listen to what I have to say, the ones that might connect with what I'm, you know, the imagery or whatever, then they might be a certain type of teenager. So that's great. That's fine. But I was thinking how they're probably the kind of teenagers that, you know, their mum might be into a bit of meditation or a bit of yoga. So they might be aware of it, or they might have done a bit themselves, you know, or they might be like, they might have started kind of, you know, having mental health issues themselves. So they might have the Headspace app, or they might, do you know what I mean? Like this is the sort of thing that, young women are, they've probably had a basic introduction to this kind of thing. And I just don't, in a way, I don't like to call it like mindfulness, because it's what I'm trying to, I suppose, talk to teenagers about is self-development work. Like, and a lot of that is based around like taking responsibility for ourselves, and self-development work isn't actually it's not like that fun. Like,
even that word, I can imagine it makes you like take a look at yourself and like really evaluate what's going on, which can be daunting. And even from someone my age, I'm still relatively young, 24, but it's like, I suppose, when people start to see it, it's not as serious as a counsellor maybe, but you know that you're going to be talking about quite deep stuff, and that you're going to actually be maybe changing things, which is also quite scary. People are so set in their ways, but that sounds really important.
Yeah, it's confrontational. It's kind of, you know, I don't mean to be, I hope that everything I do comes from compassion and love and everything, but at the end of the day, you know, when most of the big lessons I've learned for myself in my life have just been like, oh, that's kind of ugly to see.
At first, like, it's not nice.
That was me, and that I was that idiot, or like, you know, but then it's not about, you know, we're all human. Like, we all make mistakes, and mistakes are beautiful, because actually that's how we grow, and that's how we develop ourselves. And if you know, you've got to be prepared to look in the mirror, and we've got to be prepared to just take it on, because, you know, we all mess up. So what, you know, when you take it to kind of, you know, like a bit about what you were saying earlier was like how you know, I actually think we can spend the whole day ruminating and worrying about what we should do and how we could do so much, and it's just like, just do one thing, like just one thing, and you will get into a pattern of doing something else, you know. And
that's so true.
Ruminating in that, oh god, I should have done that by now, and you know, I could spend a whole day doing that.
Oh my god, easily. The mind is literally just the most stressful, but most beautiful, but most stressful thing. It can like not be on your side sometimes, and it's just like, it feels like it's working against you.
You get anxious, basically. It's crazy. Yeah,
exactly. So also in regards to isolation, so obviously we're kind of finding ways to deal with things. We're obviously, like we've been discussing, still finding things difficult, but we're getting there. I'm slowly becoming more motivated, realizing how to deal with it. But I am interested in what you think we're going to be like after this. So I do remember you saying you were going to do a post about teenagers and their exams and how they must feel with all this going on. How do you think they will feel when they're suddenly pushed back into education and they've been off for like almost half a year or something?
Yeah, well, I've been thinking about that. You know, and I think it's always good to think of it from your own perspective, because we don't know ourselves really fully, if at all. But yeah, I think from my perspective, like, you know, I'm an extrovert naturally. Like, that's kind of what people would say about me. She's, you know, I was a DJ, I was someone that was out in the world. I'm quite a social butterfly. I'll talk to anyone when I'm out. But as I've got older, I'm like, oh, I quite like being in my home, and I'm actually quite introverted, and it's quite nice to be home.
Yeah,
to talk to anyone, it's lovely. So for me, it's like, I'm a bit sort of worried about going back out into the real world again, because then maybe I'm going to get anxious. Maybe I'm going to like find myself anxious in public sort of
Yeah.
places with a lot of people, and you know, because we haven't been with a lot of people for a while. So I think we're going to have like this kind of yin and yang of it. Like you know, we think that we're missing out on our friends and being in public places and being around lots of people. But a lot of people are going to deal with being back in those spaces again and finding that really,
Oh gosh, yeah.
you know, and I hadn't really kind of thought that until today. So I don't know, and I think I just hope, on a more general thing, I just hope that we're not going to be like back to normal. I think that what will probably happen is that this will be a blip, and pretty much things go back to normal. I mean, I think there's been such amazing shows of kindness, and like, you know, incredible stories have come out of this, which are just so amazing. I just hope people don't forget that, and you know, that it becomes normal to kind of just, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing actually. Do you think that this will change people's attitudes towards each other, even in the sense of like family, even in the sense of like me and you talking? So I get very anxious like on a phone call or something. It might be different because we can see faces, it's more interactive, but if I was to phone call a stranger, although considering my job I do that quite a lot, it's different then. But if I was to have called you, I would feel really, really anxious because I feel like I stutter quite a lot, and when I get nervous, I can't really speak. I take a lot of pauses and it's just a bit awkward. But doing something like this has definitely thank you. I'm talking loads just to combat that. So yeah, things like that is changing in the sense that I'm more open to speaking to more people, and I find it really interesting, and I'm like, wait, that's really cool. People are talking more to their family that they never really talk to, or they're like, when they do see them, they're probably going to have a big party and it's going to be really amazing. Do you think that people are going to feel more warm to each other because we've all, and especially because we've all gone through this together, every single country in the world pretty much is going through this. It's such a united thing.
I think for so many people it will have a lasting effect, and I just do, I'm not kind of like rose tinted glasses kind of person. Of like, yeah, that would be great for a while, and I think we will all, you know, hopefully see a great effect from that. And you know, things like doing Zoom calls and being comfortable talking online and stuff, that sort of thing hopefully will carry on for quite some time. And definitely, you know, in that kind of, in the internet world, things I think will change completely. I think we will just be carrying on doing this. We've realized we should have been doing this before. I definitely think this kind of thing will carry on. And I think there'll be less meetings in, you know, because this is going to have to carry on for a while. The lockdowns are going to take,
definitely.
I think we'll get so used to talking to people online that this will be the new normal in a lot of ways. But yeah, for some things like kindness ways and whatever, I think there'll be a drop off again when things get back to normal, which is really sad.
Fair enough. I think what it also is it's sad, but people are so busy that they don't always have time to maybe think to be kind. I know it shouldn't feel like something you have to think of, but people, I don't know, walking around London, people are literally so on, their mind is like to work, from work, So that's when you might, like, people now, they don't have stuff to do. So if they are walking around or if they have spare time, they will be actively thinking, oh, well, actually, it might be nice to do something nice. So I hope, obviously the mindset will continue, but we might not see as many obvious, you know, shows of it and like videos online of people being really nice. But I think definitely people will remember it.
Yeah, for a long time, I think. And I think it's just, once the world becomes back to, if it goes back to normal, then we will go back to normal, because they've got to be like that, you know, like, it's just the amount less of cars on the street and stuff. Like, I'm just loving it, because there's no
my God, love
drama on the streets at the moment. Like, but yeah, I mean, once lots of people are in the same space again, then I guess it's
No,
gonna.
it makes sense. And people like suddenly realize that they don't like other people anymore and they'll get angry with them and stuff. But
Yeah.
that's part of life. But I think some of it will definitely carry on. But yeah, so obviously with my job as house manager, it is in London. And we are starting to plan how we're gonna bring people back to work. And something I find really interesting is that, so talking to my manager, who's the chief officer, he has said we really need to take into account how people are going to feel when they come back. So we've not only talked about like the physical elements of like how we're going to arrange everyone's desks, how we're going to do meetings and stuff. He's been, you know, when clients and our colleagues come in, I really want to know how they're dealing with the adjustment coming back. I want to know how they, if they feel comfortable being back and how they're dealing with all that, which I think 10 years ago, that probably wouldn't have really mattered, to be honest. It would have just been about, you know, come back to work now, you've got stuff to do. Whereas I think people, it's such a big thing now to care for your workers. Do you know what I mean? Like it's such a known thing that a company has to do that. But also I think it is coming from a sincere place, because luckily I do work for a really great company. But yeah, I just really like the fact that he mentioned that. And I was actually thinking, yeah, I feel like I need to be the one to filter people to come back in and feel, you know, safe and feel not like stressed and stuff. But I'm just trying to think, how can I, you know, do those little things that make people comfortable?
Yeah. Well, I guess, can your company have people work from home still? Like,
Yeah, so I think we're not gonna demand everyone come back. Yeah, and I think it's kind of like, maybe if there's certain things that when people are in teams, if it's like a creative thing, it'd be good to come in so you can like do stuff together and like look at, you know, whatever. But yeah, I think certain people, I think that's another interesting thing, is that I've spoken to people and they think that after all this, people are going to be working from home more. Because people, there's kind of two arguments. People have been like, well, why do you need to be in the office if you could work from home? But then also I'm like, I want to go to the office because I don't want to literally be stuck here. Especially, I don't know, some people might have really nice fancy houses in London where they're quite happy to work from home all the time. But I love the social aspect. That's a lot of my job, is coming up with like things to do in the lunchtime that's fun. And I really like that. And I feel like although we have group Zooms on Friday doing beers and a quiz, although we have a group WhatsApp chat, it's like I don't feel super connected with everyone. And I think a lot of other people are surely feeling like that. So I think working from home once or twice a week would be nice, but I think mainly
you group as well, like your work.
Well, we're about 30 people now, so it's not super big. But I think even more so the fact
your age-ish, or like
well, I think I am the youngest, but there is like quite a lot of people in their 20s, quite a lot in their 30s, maybe a couple in their 40s. So yeah, it's a really nice group of people, and we all have a lot of fun together and we all have a joke together. So I think a lot of people do want to be back in the office, or want to at least have some time back in the office, because
young people,
yeah,
you know, I think that you'll find that because your workforce is quite young, that they'll probably want to go back and get on with their lives as normal. And that's the beauty of this virus, really, is, you know, it's affecting older people more. So if you had people in your workforce that were 50 plus, you can work from home for a while, like until this virus is under control.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I would have thought that people under 40 kind of thing can start thinking, yeah, it's okay to kind of, you know, as long as you're in good health and you don't have any underlying issues, then to be kind of back in the workforce and kind of getting on with it, really. So fingers crossed for you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think also, yeah, just missing kind of the hustle and bustle. Like you said, I really like, say on my street outside, I really like that it's quite quiet. We still have a couple of people walking around because we've got shops below us, like Tesco and all that. But I like just the quietness of it. It feels nice and still, it's calm. But then I am thinking summer's coming up, obviously, for us. And being in
Yeah.
London in the summer is just, I don't know, I know you said you lived in Bristol before. Did you ever live in London?
No, not for any amount of time. I used to have a shop in London, so I used to be in
Oh, what
London
was
for.
that?
So we had the shop Dutty shop that I used to run.
Oh,
We
brilliant.
we opened up in London for only for about a year, but it was there in West London, can't remember, Wood Green area. So yeah, it was just an opportunity we took because of a friend who lived there and had a shop available underneath her house. So we ended up
Oh,
taking it on.
wicked. Perfect opportunity.
It was nice because I've always wanted to live in London, so it was nice to be at least in
Yeah,
London.
almost felt like you did a little bit. You got a taste of it, 100%.
Yeah, but
How does that compare to Bristol, do you think? Such different places, but both so fucking fun.
yeah, I mean, I suppose I was not making the most of it when I was there. Like I was just, I don't know. I think I should have done it when I was in my 20s, basically. Yeah. By the time I was running a shop, like, and we were running two, and it was, it was hard.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility. I wasn't really feeling like going out raving at the end of it.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah.
I would go for drinks and stuff, but yeah, it was nice to experience it, but I didn't get the whole feel of like London life, I suppose. So,
yeah, I think part of London life is just like the people going out for drinks after work zone, the fact there's literally like a pub on every corner, and I really like on a Friday when especially when it's summer and everyone's just standing outside in a beer garden or something. So yeah, what is
something on, like there's always some sort of free drinks thing.
Exactly, it's just nice vibes, it's really nice atmosphere. So that is why I'm hoping, we're still going to have some summer left, because it's not the biggest deal. Like, there's a pandemic going on, it doesn't matter what I want, do you know what I mean? But I am like, oh, if we get a couple months of summer at the end of it, that would still be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm sure you will. And like it's everything you're saying, like it's just totally fair enough. Like, a young 24-year-old, that's what you should be missing.
I know, I just feel like such a dick when I'm like, I hope I still get a summer, do you know what I mean? Like
it doesn't, just because you're upset about your social life being disrupted or whatever, doesn't mean you're like completely compassionate about.
I know, yeah.
It's like that is valid, your feelings are completely valid, and it's, yeah, totally get it. Like it is gutting, and I'm sure it will come back soon. And at the same time, I'm in a different world. I'm like, I'm fine at home.
I suppose your seasons are all, I feel so embarrassed. I only really knew about this a couple of years ago, that your seasons are like flips. And that's obviously because you're on the other side of the world, which makes sense. And when I found that out, because I have an Australian friend and she was talking about summer, but it was in winter, and I was like, I don't mean to sound, rude, but I think you've got that wrong. And she was like, no, it's completely different. And I was just like, how have I gone my whole life not knowing that?
I remember having the same like brainwave.
And it's so obvious as well. I was just like, oh my god. But yeah, so it might be different for you, because maybe, you have the sun all the time and there anyway, so it's like
yeah, even the winter here actually is quite sunny, so it does get
so weird.
It gets cold, but it's not,
nowhere near like here.
Fine. we're totally fine. And so, I feel really lucky at the moment, because I live in Bondi, so I'm close to the beach, and
my god, yes. Are people still like going on the beach?
Well, the beaches are closed, but
yeah,
that's the bit of it, because Bondi's a busy tourist area. So, once they really kind of locked everything down and said people have got to stop traveling and stop, coming to the beach or whatever, then the beaches have been dead. And it's just amazing to see. Like, you're not allowed on them, but just to see a beach that's completely empty.
There's probably no day of the year that you would ever see that as well. Like, never.
Like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, there'll be someone swimming there. Like, it's
always someone.
The light comes up, you see that. So it's amazing to see, and it's beautiful.
It is really nice things getting back to maybe how they should be, I guess. And have you seen those pictures of like around the world, all the cities, when they're like on lockdown, and that you just see like things like animals walking around and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
So when you get back to, obviously, or when things kind of get back to normal, what advice do you think you're going to put out there? Do you think you're going to do like some sort of, we've kind of already spoken about it, but do you think you're going to do some sort of piece on, I think there might need to be something where people have a kind of guide of like how, I think people are going to be really hard on themselves when they're going back to stuff, and like I think it needs to be said that they might feel a lot of different things, and that it's normal, and that they're probably going to have a lot of anxiety, and that's okay. Do you think you're going to have something where, I don't know, if you're going to have something like that when people come back?
Well, I mean, I suppose my take on the whole thing and what has got me through the whole thing is that, like, we never had, certainty. There's all this talk now about like, oh, these are uncertain times. And
no, that's so true. Has it ever been certain though?
Like, you could die tomorrow. I hate to say it, but you could walk in front of a bus tomorrow. You can, lose your relationship tomorrow. You just don't know what is going to happen in your life. And yes, these are different times because we've never lived through a pandemic before. But I just think that all the kind of, I don't know, just living like being in the moment, like that is the kind of crux, I think, of any self-development work. It's like, it's all about, have you ever read The Power of Now? Have you heard of
No, but I think my friend said they've got it and they're going to lend it to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a book that everyone should read. It changes your life. It's like, it's definitely one of the most important kind of self-development books, I think. But it's, it's just about really getting in the now, being that this is the only moment you truly have. We either live in the past or the future.
Yeah.
We hardly ever are thinking about right now. And the thing about living in the past and the future is you kind of like think that you know a lot about yourself because of your past. Like, this is all I've collected about everything I know about my past. And then what you do is kind of like throw it out there into the future and go, okay, that's where my trajectory is going then. Do you know what I mean? Because you kind of built up this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Push it out there into life. Whereas, nothing in your past has to affect your future. Nothing, just because you've had a few broken relationships, or just because your dad was, absent father, or, whatever it is, like, doesn't mean that your life is going to go that way. If you can manage to be in the now and live like every moment is like precious and like needs to be, you can create yourself in every moment. Like, everyone believes that they're a certain identity, like, quite early in life, like with young girls in particular, oh, you're bossy, oh, you're such
get put into categories at an early age.
All those things that, we decide about ourselves. Somebody might either have put it on us, or we might have decided it ourselves at some point. So, I mean, like, for instance, one of the things I talk about in my book that I'm writing for teenage girls is, when I was very little, I thought I was told I was a mistake. So, like, my mum said, oh, you were a happy mistake. I was like the third child.
That word is still not what you want to hear. Even though you've got happy in front of it, no.
It's still, all I heard was mistake. And so I kind of made up this story about how I'm not really meant to be here. I'm useless to people because I was never meant to be here. So, and then I realized, like, through the work I've done, that story has kind of been going through my whole life, and that therefore I have to make myself really useful too. So I can put myself into people's space going, let me help, let me sort that out.
Yeah.
Because I've got to be worthy, got to be, the fact that I'm here has got to be worthwhile.
Do you think that's worked in the best for you because maybe it has made you have that attitude though?
yeah, I think that like sometimes you decide things like, I'm super strong and I'm independent. Great. That's like, you know, an identity you've got on yourself that's given you some empowerment and something, you know, but also at the same time, like every identity that we create, it's kind of based around a decision that an upset child has made. So even if, you know, I decided I'd be a strong, independent girl, but that was because I felt like, you know, at some point I realized like I'm really on my own here and I've probably got to like look after myself, you know. So it's always come from an upset child. It doesn't mean that those identities don't work for you, but sometimes they'll either work for you or they'll really destroy you. So it's like,
no, that's really interesting actually. I've not really thought about it like that, but that's true. Yeah,
actually it's about the present moment. Who am I now? Like, am I useless? Am I independent? Am I strong? Forget all that. Like, who do I want to be right now? Who do I say I'm going to be right now? And that's where that kind of, you can really create yourself in the moment.
Amazing.
Yeah, every moment, every minute. That's the exciting thing.
I love it. I feel like even just speaking to you has motivated me. Like, I honestly feel like I could listen to your wisdom for like hours. I absolutely love it. But before we go, I do actually want to go back to you talking about your book. I don't think you mentioned that to me before.
Oh. So yeah, I'm halfway through writing a book for teenage girls, and it's basically a self-development, self-help book, whatever you want to call it. I hate all those words. Like, I don't know like what the best way to describe it is, but it'll do. But I don't think there's enough for teenage girls. I think this, you know, I think that it's about talking to them in a very real way, like talking about my personal experiences, but it's in no way a memoir. It's like, you know, give you a small example from my life, just illustrate a point I'm making. And I think it's for everyone. It will just be, you know, for any girls that want to kind of look at their lives, and, you know, and I just want them to all know that anything's possible for their lives and they can create whatever they want in life, you know. So and that's just coming from me, because I was somebody that, I mean, I was always kind of like strong and independent, but I definitely had a lot of disempowered, you know, conversations about myself. I feel that
absolutely in myself as well as a teenager, and probably up until very recently, to be honest. So I'm really excited about this book. Do you have, obviously it's a creative thing, you shouldn't be pressured, but do you have like a time that you think it would be done?
I would like it to be out by the end of the year, I think.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's half written. I just need to edit it. I want to ideally get it published. If not, I'll self-publish. But yeah, I'm writing daily. I just recently, like I had been writing sort of 3 days a week. Yeah. Doing kind of an hour stint a day or whatever. And then I did a free, like I've been doing loads of free courses because of coronavirus. Yeah. So like, oh, here's a PR and marketing one. Here's a. Oh, awesome! Yes, perfect. Yeah, just loving any courses that come out, you know. And then this one was a book coach that put out a 5-day masterclass if you're writing a self-help book. So I was like, yeah, brilliant. And the best thing I got from that is she said, write for 15 minutes a day, regardless. And biggest thing, lessons of my life is starting to do yoga every day. And I don't know where I got this kind of inclination to do it, but I ended up going, right, I'm going to do yoga. Like, I'd always wanted to do yoga every day for 20 minutes. And I always said, oh, why don't I do it? Why am I just, you know, I just blaming myself, like, why have I not, why, you know, I know it would be so good, I know that it will make a difference, yet I don't do it. And the biggest thing changed, and I decided to just do like a 1 minute or 2 minute or 3 minute practice. Like it didn't have to be any particular amount. Just if I only do 1 minute, if I only do 2 minutes, that's fine. Just do it daily. That's what I need to do, because I've gone straight into trying to doing the 30-minute videos, and I feel like the most unconnected person with everything, because I'm like,
why am I getting bored? I shouldn't be feeling bored doing it, but I'm like, I literally, like 10 minutes, yeah, maybe I should be doing that, because I didn't even think that would count as doing it. Do you know what I mean? But if you do the slow things, it's like you'll ease into it.
Yeah, and it's the same with everything. So like, just don't give yourself a time limit. All that matters is you show up for yourself. Like,
Exactly.
if I go up on the mat, even sometimes, like, I've had a long day, I don't want to, I've forgotten to do my yoga in the morning, or not got around to it, or been busy in the morning, end of the day, and I've had a glass or two of wine, I'm like, I still go, right, do 1 or 2 minutes.
Oh, brilliant. Good.
Like, just because it makes so much difference, even if it's just a few shoulder rolls and a few cat-cows. So yeah, like, I fully recommend just doing it for
I'm gonna go do it now. I'm gonna do it.
I'm doing with my book is 15 minutes a day, regardless. Some days I'll write longer. Yeah. Because once I'm in the flow, I want to. And that's the time with yoga. Once you're in the flow, yeah, you want to. Some days you won't want to.
Yeah. Well, promise me that you will let me know when you do actually end up releasing it, because I'll definitely be buying a copy, and I'll be buying copies for every teenage girl I know as well, because even just listening to you now, I'm just like, that's why I want to be having this conversation, because I hope that people will go see this and they'll end up, knowing about Dear Teenage Me, and because it's so inspiring, and it's such just an amazing thing you're doing. So yes, please tell me.
I'm so you're inspired, like, honestly, to leave someone inspired and like ready to go for their day is just like,
no, honestly, I'm in such a good mood now. So I'm really excited about where Teenage Me is going to go. It's still very new. Already you've got some amazing content. And yeah, can you just let us know your socials and where they should write to if they want to be part of Dear Teenage Me?
Yeah, I'm keen to have any collaborators come in, and just, I don't want to be, I've got other women working with me and writing articles and people on socials and stuff. So the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. Anyone that's really keen to empower young women, get on board, give us a shout. info@dearteenageme.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I could literally talk to you for hours, but my laptop's about to die. But yeah, thank you for perking me up for the day. I think a lot of other people will watch this and see a lot of what you talk about in themselves, and it will kind of, some of them, it might even be a bit of a light bulb moment. Do you know what I mean? So definitely everyone go check out the website. It's, what is it, Dear Teenage Me?
dearteenageme.com. Yeah.
.com. Okay, I think I keep putting .co.uk, which is why I keep going wrong, and then I'm just like, obviously .com. Okay, everyone, dearteenageme.com for some great advice, good stories. Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, Lua, for talking to me again. Yeah, have an amazing rest of your day.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.